And so with all this research that we've done and the National Reading Panels study, there's been similar ones in England and Australia that's coming up with these 5 foundational skills that are essential to reading instruction. And just having one of them is not enough. We need to have the phonological awareness component, which is that awareness of the sounds within the language. Now, this is something that individuals who can hear and comprehend the English language have an unconscious awareness of. But as educators, it's our job to bring that unconscious awareness to consciousness so that they're able to hear the difference between the sounds and identify them, and they're able to blend and segment the words. Yeah. There's also phonics, which is teaching the relationship between the phonemes or the speech sounds in English and the graphemes, which are the letters of our alphabet. And as you mentioned earlier, there's over 200 combinations of the 26 letters that we have that are used to represent these speech sounds. So that's a lot. And you may not have to teach absolutely every single one of these graphemes and their corresponding phonemes, but a good percentage of them should be directly taught so children learn them.
Yeah, you've probably seen a lot of dyslexia simulations with nonsense words.
Yes.
Do you know you can do just regular English words for a simulation?
Yes.
Cough, rough, through, though, and plow. They all have the O-U-G-H. None of them rhyme.
Yeah.
And then we have things that rhyme like baloney and pony that aren't spelled alike.
Exactly.
It's amazing how complicated our language is.
Yeah. And then, one thing that's another important thing to make sure that children have, especially, diverse learners that have, English as an additional language or from lower SES backgrounds, is having that vocabulary component to it, because that helps with the word recognition. If you're sounding out a word and don't recognize it, you're not going to be able to tell if it's right or wrong. But if you sound it out a little bit incorrectly, but are like, oh, you know what, that sounds like this, then you're able to build that recognition of the word and tie it to the vocabulary and the understanding that you have of that word.
In fact, the example that was used in this Dyslexia Institute where Lucy Calkins gave up the looking at pictures was the boy needed to put on his something to go out in the cold weather. And then the picture had a jacket, a coat, or a jacket, mittens, scarf, and a hat on a kid. Now, he could have said coat. He could have said any of the other words, but that's not going to help him decode. So if he had decoded it as J-kit, that is much closer to jacket than coat is. And he would probably figure out, oh, we don't have J-kits, we have jackets. And you can make that leap a lot easier than you could, thinking that the JAC spells coat.
Exactly. And then another thing with those strategies that originally she was promoting, like the 3 cueing system, or, guessing based on context, using pictures, that's only so effective for the beginning readers. But as soon as you get into that content reading where the pictures are removed and the vocabulary that the new vocabulary that you're being exposed to on an annual basis is thousands of words that you're not going to have previous oral exposure to, you can't guess those. You can't check to see if they're the right ones. You need to be able to have some level of decoding.
Yep. And that's actually when, when you're up there is when that analytic phonics can really begin, and really learning root words, suffixes, prefixes, and how they're related. Think of rupt, disrupt, erupt, interruption, all those, if you know what rupt means, you're going to figure out all those other things. And so that's a good time to start introducing those analytic reading skills and analytic phonics. But, you have to get there before you have to walk before you start running with those.